give to young writers or aspiring writers, and I tell people this story. I said, you know, when I was 12 years old, I shared my first story with someone who I thought was my friend. After she read it, she said, my dog could write better than you. And I'm like, oh my God, like, you know? And in that moment, I know that I could have just said, oh, well, you know, I should just give up, right? In that moment, I got creative and I said, well, maybe her dog is a really good writer. You know, maybe I've got to work harder to be better than her dog, you know? So what I got was that no one was going to tell me whether I was a good or bad writer. Because I had gotten so much criticism growing up as a girl from boys, because I was also an athlete. So I was always told, you can't, you know? So I had gotten so much negativity that I said, I'm not listening to anybody except what's in here, because my gut, my heart know that I can do this. So throughout my life, I've always got, when I got letters, I got a letter saying that they did not want to present Real Women Have Curves at this theater, a big theater in LA, because it was an undignified portrayal of Latino women. I was so angry because I said, wait, just because these women are seamstresses, they don't have dignity? I say, your job doesn't give you dignity, you give yourself dignity. Because what happens if you lose your job? Do you lose your dignity? I don't think so. So I remember being so angry because I knew that this play was good, especially after 19 productions, right? That I said, my story matters. And I don't care who tells me how bad it is, I'm gonna do it, right? And the thing is that, even after the movie won Sundance, it won all these awards, I have maybe more than 60 productions of Real Women Have Curves. When I was working on the musical, I got a review that said that my play wasn't funny, right? And I'm thinking, I've heard thousands of people laugh at these jokes, I know they're funny, right? So my greatest advice to young writers is, believe that your story matters, even if it takes 25 years for the reviews to finally say that your story matters.
Will make you stand out as a writer is that you have something that's very much your own, that's important for you to say, and that you stick to your guns, and that people recognize that the kind of passion and integrity behind what you're writing. So the way I got my first New York production was I wrote this play called FOB to be done in my dorm. Through a variety of fortuitous circumstances, actually it's worth talking about. The Public Theater in New York, which is Joseph Papp founded it. It's a New York Shakespeare Festival. Joe was arguably the most important American theatrical producer of the last half of the 20th century. So Joe produced a play at the Public where a white actor was cast in an Asian role in 1978. And this led to protests by the actors of that time. And Joe, being who he was, he invited the protesters into his office, and he hired one of them onto his staff to find plays for Asian actors. And it was just about that time that my first play came across their desk. So I think that testifies to the importance of community activism, number one. And for me, I'm a beneficiary of affirmative action. That's what affirmative action does. It sees that there is a need and it creates a program to try to address that need. And I was the guy who was lucky enough to get to walk through that door that was opened. So I owe a lot of my career to the fact that there's political activism. But, okay, so then we do the reading of the play for Joe. And Joe takes me into his office and he's like, well, I really like this play, but I have some notes. And which is perfectly fair. And he's saying his notes. And I don't actually agree with them, but I was like 22 and he's Joe Papp and I really wanted him to like me and everything. So I was like, okay, well, you know what? Yeah, thanks, let me think about that. And Joe's like, okay, so go home and do another draft of this and send it back to me and I'll decide if I'm gonna produce it. So I came back to California where I was living at the time and I waited 3 weeks and I sent him back the exact same script. And 10 days later the phone rings and it's Joe Papp and he's like, okay, the script's great now, we're gonna do it. And that's how I got my first production. So I'm not saying that you should ignore all advice because I have a lot of other stories. Right? Yeah, I have a lot of other stories where people told me something and it really did resonate with me. But in the end, it's your play, it's not anybody else's play, and you have to hold on to what you think it should be.
I think what's interesting right now too is that there are all these theaters producing plays by white male playwrights, right? So right now is an opportunity for women to say, hey, it's 2015, like it's almost 100 years since women got the right to vote. Isn't that really wrong that you only produce white male playwrights at your theater? And I think enough women can complain right now so that, because like that's how I'm getting in the door at the Manhattan Theater Club, right? Because they got all this hostility because we were saying, oh yeah, a theater that represents New York, nothing but white males, hello. And then I told my agent, send Real Women Have Curves right now. And she did. I said, oh my God, they're willing to read female playwrights right now because they're under attack. So I think if enough women challenge all these other theaters, there might be an opportunity for the door to open a little bit and you jump in there.
And I think it's not, the appeal to make to theaters also is not just the social justice issue,
but it's money.
Really, it's about the survival of theater. Every industry in America knows that they have to get ready for the shifting demographics. This is why Latinos are finally
being invited to the theater. We're like, hello, all your young audiences are brown.
Right. So it's just common sense. It's good business, really, to get because everybody likes to see themselves on stage.
Exactly. Yeah.